there. Today we are talking about guide notes. Guide notes are sometimes also called clue notes, and the reason is because the staff, the grand staff, gives us little clues or guides us to find these particular notes really easily. So if you've already watched the video about the grand staff or learned about the grand staff in your piano lessons, you are ready to learn about these guide notes. Because you probably noticed when you first learned about the grand staff, there's a whole bunch of lines and spaces here, and it can be really challenging to figure out which note is which. If I just showed you a note up there and said, hey, what note is that? You'd go, oh my gosh, I have to start way down here at middle C and go D, E, F, G, A, B, C, is that right? Okay, yeah, I think that's a C. I hope I counted right? And that's very exhausting mentally to count your way up and down to everything that you try to find. And, God forbid that I try and give you something way down there, because then you have to go backwards, right? Middle C down to B. What comes before B? Oh, I think that's an A. What comes before A? Oh no, I have to restart at the end of the musical alphabet. It gets really challenging. So what we do is we use these clue notes or guide notes that help us to find other notes on the staff really simply and count up or down from something a lot closer. So middle C is our first guide note, and you already know that one, I bet, because it's so easy to find. It lives right there in the middle, and we know where it is on the piano as well, right underneath our piano's name, right? If you find your 2-block key group and find that C right there in the middle, that one's really simple, right? So the next one I'm going to teach you is bass F, and bass F is going to live down on the bass clef staff, as its name would indicate, and it's super easy to find. The clue or the guiding part is these 2 dots right here, and you'll notice there's a line going straight through the middle of those 2 dots. So I'm going to take another note and stick it right there on the line between those 2 dots. That note is called bass F, all right? And if I were to count down to it, say I wanted another note and I was going to start on middle C, I'd go down to B, down to A, down to G, and finally I'd land on F. So that's some hard counting down, but it's very simple. If you just look for those 2 dots and go, that's on the line right between the 2 dots, that must be bass F. So try to memorize that one. The other one that I'm going to teach you is treble G. Now treble G lives up here on the treble clef staff, as its name indicates, right? And it's on the line that goes straight through this big swirly circle and cuts it in half. So our treble clef is very swirly all around, but it's got especially this big circle here, right? And you'll notice this line on the staff cuts it right into, and right there is our treble G. Now if we were to count up to treble G, we could start down here on middle C, and we go up to D, up to E, up to F, and finally we land on G, right? But it's much easier to just go, where's that big circle? Okay, there's the line that cuts it in half. There is treble G, right? So now you can see that you know 3 guide notes instead of just middle C in the middle. So if I were to ask you again to find that note way up there, you don't have to start way down in middle C and count up. This time you could start on treble G and go after G. We restart the alphabet, A, B, C. Oh, that was way easier, right? And let's say I gave you that note right there, which before you would have had to go backwards from C and go C. What comes before C? B. Okay, A must be there. What comes before A? Oh no, I have to restart the alphabet at the end. There's a G. Now it's so much easier. You're just going to find those 2 dots, go up, that's F that lives between those, and if I go up 1 from F, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, that's really easy to land on that note. So it's a much simpler system for finding those different notes on the staff if you just memorize these very few little guide notes along the way to give you some clues. So have fun with that, and happy musicking.